This is Ask Ian, your termite control questions answered by Australia's foremost authority on termites, Ian Staunton.
All right, now Russell is saying, I'm interested to know how to estimate the optimum number of bait stations for a house. I presume that if there are too few, there is a risk of the termites getting into the house before they find the bait stations. Do you have any reports from your users about this, where termites have got into the house but not found bait stations? I have a house in Macrae in Victoria on 1.5 acres. It has had termite damage before, but there are active termites in the garden now. The house is all timber, 100 years old, about 12 by 12 metres square. How far apart would I put the bait stations around the perimeter of the building?
Okay, well, again, to get these products registered, the authorities in Canberra generally agree that they should be placed between 3 to 5 metres apart. So, in essence and logically, the more you put around, the more chances you have to find the termites, or the termites to find the bait stations. So, yes, you'd put probably 3 metres apart. So the more you put around, the better it is. The second part of the question about termites getting into the house but not found the bait stations, well, yes, that does happen, but sometimes it's termites have been in the house before the bait stations were there, but people didn't know about it because termites are pretty secretive. Once they get into the house, they just eat away for a while in the floor plates or the joists and foundation stuff. Nobody gets to see it, and then you go and put termite baits around the place. The termites have already found the house, and they are eating a lot of wood, and they may not show themselves in any of the bait stations before you find them in the windowsill. And so people are tending to blame the bait stations for not being effective, but all the time the termites were in there before the bait stations were put around. And it's pretty hard to determine how long termites have been in a house. There are plenty of court cases where people have tried, but it's just not conclusive, and as far as I know, none of those claims have ever been successful. You just can't tell. By looking at damaged timber in a windowsill, you wouldn't know whether termites have been there within the last week, month, 10 years, or 30 years.
Sure, or in this gentleman's case, it could have been 80 years ago that they've started to
100 years
do their
old.
work.
Yeah, so and he's already had termites in the house. So if this is probably important to bring out here. If the termites have been in a house and have been treated some way or other, either by the pest controller or you've used a baiting program yourself and you've killed that colony, there's nothing to stop another colony finding their way into the house. And let me just describe what happens and how termite colonies get going. On warm summer evenings, the ambient temperature outside is probably close to 30 degrees and 90% humidity, which, guess what, is about what it is inside where the termites are working. So it's not such a shock for these teenagers to launch themselves late in the day. Again, that takes care of a lot of the birds and ants. And so thousands of them erupt from a nest or from timber attached to a nest, and they float off. And when they land, they break off their wings, and boy follows girl until they find a place where they can perhaps build a nest. This is a long-winded way of saying most of them will not be successful, but those that do will be working away for the next 5 years to the stage where they become a significant threat to a house. So you knock off the first nest, and there may be another one that's 3 or 4 years old is getting up to the significant stage, and it would be quite interested in your house if it can find a way in before it finds a termite trap.
Sure.
So that's why you have termite traps and monitors around your house, 3 metres apart, give them plenty of opportunity to find that before they find a house.
Want to ask Ian a question? Head over to termitetrap.com.au and click on the Ask Ian link.